The following ghost story is a parody of the author's family and their fantasy football league. No real family members were harmed, exorcised, or summoned by demons to the afterlife.
Calaroga Shark Media. Hello and welcome to Ghost, Scary Stories. This episode is titled The Ghost of Fantasy Football.
In the eerie glow of his computer screen, Jason meticulously crafted his fantasy football lineup, the soft clicks of his keyboard echoing in the solitary confines of his room. The Yolo Yo-yos, a team that languished at the bottom of the standings season after season, was his pride and joy, despite their perennial misfortune. Jason, a fervent believer in his own misunderstood genius, had never tasted victory, but was convinced this season would be different. The Fantasy Football League was a motley crew of competitors, each with their own quirks and strategies. On the men's side, there was Jim's Just Lucky. His secret strategy? What would Taylor Swift do? A question that surprisingly seemed to work, much to the chagrin of his more studious competitors. Rob's the dark horse traditionally galloped from behind to steal victories. An adventurer at heart, Rob's strategy was as unpredictable as his next destination. Yet this year, his usual luck seemed to have sailed away with his houseboat. Zach's anti-hero was the league's sweetheart, a veneer that masked a cutthroat tactician. Celebrating life's milestones, Zach juggled fantasy football with changing diapers, his choices in players as unpredictable as a baby's mood. Joe led Average Joe with a secret arsenal of superpowers that belied his team's name. Joey's Kashyyyk Wookiees was a tribute to his Star Wars obsession. His strategies were as intricate as a game of Dejarik, often leaving opponents bewildered and defeated. Joey D of the Dun Crushers was relentless, his tactics merciless. For Joey D, fantasy football was war, and he was its most ruthless general. Mark the Shark, the league's joker, aimed not just to win, but to do so with flair, often at Jason's expense. His pranks kept the league on its toes, ensuring that no victory was too solemn. The women consisted of Beth's Chicken Nuggets, desperate to escape the ignominy of last place. Mary's Hail Marys, notorious for her sneaky player acquisitions. Janie's Powerful Phoenixes, with a love for plants that rivaled her interest in the game. Haley's Sleepless in PDX, a testament to her chaotic lifestyle. Jessie's Yay Sports, fueled by a peculiar mix of enthusiasm and dietary preferences, and Trish's Whiner Niner, the matriarchal empress with a reputation for excellence. Jason's obsession with fantasy football was all-consuming, his strategies more complex with each passing season, yet fate had a cruel twist in store. One stormy night, as lightning illuminated the sky, Jason made his final lineup change, a decision he believed would clinify his elusive championship. In that electrifying moment, tragedy struck. A bolt from the heavens found its mark, ending Jason's dreams and life in an instant. His untimely demise was a dark omen, casting a long shadow over the league. Jason's spirit, unable to find peace, lingered. The digital realm of fantasy football became his haunting ground, where he sought to influence the game he could no longer play. His interventions were subtle at first, inexplicable glitches and mysterious lineup changes that baffled the league's members. Yet as the season progressed, his presence grew more potent, his antics more disruptive. Jim's players would inexplicably bench themselves. Rob's reliable internet connection became as unstable as a dinghy in a storm, and Zach's lineup was plagued by injuries as if cursed. Joe's superpowers seemed nullified by an unseen force, while Joe Jr.'s strategies unraveled like a poorly planned game of holochess. Joey D's ruthlessness was met with unexpected defeats, and Mark's pranks backfired, turning his triumphs into humiliations. Beth's chicken nuggets saw their projected points inexplicably halve just before each game, ensuring their struggle to escape last place continued. Mary's Hail Marys would find her stolen players inexplicably locked each game day, rendering her strategic heists futile. Janie's powerful phoenixes experienced a strange correlation between her plants flourishing and her players' underperformance, as if nature conspired against her team. Haley's Sleepless in PDX faced the bizarre situation of her chosen defense always scoring negative points, no matter the matchup. Jessie's Yay Sports witnessed her kicker missing every field goal attempt in a surreal string of bad luck, and Trish's Whiner Niner dealt with her streaming service crashing during key games, leaving her in the dark at critical moments. These oddities added a layer of intrigue and frustration, suggesting that Jason's ghostly influence extended far beyond the realm of the predictable. As the playoffs approached, the league was in turmoil. Accusations flew, theories abounded, but one name was on everyone's lips: Jason. The realization dawned that they were contending with a force beyond their comprehension, a ghostly manager bent on settling scores from beyond the grave. The championship round was chaos incarnate. Key players were sidelined by bizarre accidents, strategic masterstrokes turned into blunders, and the leaderboard was as unpredictable as the stormy night that claimed Jason. In a final, ironic twist, the very machinations that Jason's spirit had set in motion led to a collective collapse. Injuries, poor decisions, and supernatural interference left the championship unclaimed, a season without a victor. In the aftermath, the league's members gathered not in the virtual space that had been their battleground, but in person, united by the shared ordeal. They recounted tales of Jason's influence, each story more unbelievable than the last. It was in this moment of shared vulnerability that they found the key to Jason's salvation. A makeshift seance, half in jest, half in desperate hope, became the setting for Jason's release. The competitors, now allies in this spectral dilemma, called out to Jason, offering him the championship he had so desperately sought in life. They acknowledged his passion, his dedication, and the void his departure had left in their league and their hearts. As the candlelight flickered and the ghostly presence of Jason seemed to dissipate into the ether, the Fantasy Football League members, now gathered in an uneasy truce, shared a moment of reflection on the season that had been. Each in turn offered a parting shot, their words tinged with the unique blend of sarcasm and humor that had characterized their interactions all season long. Jim, leaning back with a resigned grin, shook his head. Well, I guess my just lucky strategy finally ran out of Taylor Swift magic. Who knew all it would take was a ghost to shake it off? Rob, with a wistful glance at his unused hiking boots, mused, "Looks like the Dark Horse took a detour into the Bermuda Triangle this season. Next time, I'll make sure to pack a compass and maybe a Ouija board." Zach, cradling a sleeping Abe and a now lukewarm vodka fresca, sighed. "Between diaper changes and lineup changes, I thought I had it all. Turns out the real fantasy was thinking I could win with a ghost on defense." Joe, ever the enigma, simply smiled and said, "You'd think with superpowers I'd have seen this coming. Turns out my kryptonite wasn't kryptonite. It was a keyboard warrior from beyond the grave." Joe Jr., surrounded by unplayed Star Wars games, couldn't help but laugh. "Guess the Force wasn't with the Kashyyyk Wookiees this year. Maybe next season, I'll draft Yoda for some real Jedi mind tricks." Joey D., arms crossed in mock defiance, declared, "So the Dun Crushers got crushed by a phantom. Next season's strategy, drafting players based on their ghost-busting skills." Mark the Shark, ever the Joker, grinned widely. "Turns out the real fantasy in fantasy football was thinking I could outsmart a ghost. Next year, I'm drafting Scooby-Doo." Beth, with a simple shoulder shrug, remarked, "Just wait till next year. The chicken nuggets will savor the sweet and spicy taste of victory. Jason, throw me the pink shirt." Mary, flipping a veggie burger with a sly smile, remarked, "Stealing players? Please, that's child's play. This year I learned how to steal a win from the afterlife. Thanks for the tip, Jason. Janie, watering her plants with a thoughtful look, pondered, "Talked to my roses about the season. They said better luck next year." I guess even my plants knew Jason's haunting was a thorn in our side. Haley, finding another long-lost sock in the couch, mused, "Who needs sleep when you have fantasy football and ghosts? At least now I know Machine Gun Kelly isn't the scariest thing I'm a fan of." Jessie, unwrapping a red vine, contemplated, "Well, yay sports might not have won, but at least I've found a new strategy for next year. Ghost repellent, and more red vines, fewer peanut butters." Trish, adjusting her napkin into the shape of the Eiffel Tower, reflected, "The Whiner Niner might have met its match in a spectre, but remember, dear, Martha Stewart also faced challenges before her empire was built. Here's to hauntingly good strategy next season." As laughter and light-hearted jibes filled the room, the Fantasy Football League found solace in their shared ordeal. The season had ended not with a victory, but with a story they would tell for years to come, the year fantasy football was haunted by one of their own. And as they parted ways, each carried with them the memory of the season that Jason, the ghost of fantasy football, had made unforgettable. As the candlelight flickered, a sense of peace enveloped the room. The electrical devices, the conduits of Jason's unrest, went silent. The storm outside abated, and in that moment, they knew Jason had found his rest. The ghost of fantasy football, the eternal manager of the Yolo Yo-yos, had left the field.
Ghost is a Calaroga Shark media production, written and hosted by Alexander Ian McIntyre, produced by Mark Francis, executive producers Mark Francis and John McDermott. Calaroga Shark Media,